welcome to the Please Like What I Like podcast. My name is Joseph Gladding, and I'm joined by my brother Michael Gladding.
Hello.
And this is a podcast where we're each going to pick a movie that we like and watch it and talk about it and try to see which side of the line the other guy falls on.
We're just two brothers that like talking about movies that we watch. And
It's just called Two Brothers.
So the way it's going to go is each episode we'll take turns picking a movie. This time was my turn. It's a podcast where there's the slightest bit of homework. I guess you can think of it as sort of like a book club type format, but it's movies. You should watch the movie before you listen to this, because otherwise it's going to blow everything about the movie. So if you're listening to this and you haven't seen Princess and the Frog, then you're doing it wrong. Turn us off and go watch the movie.
Is available on Disney Plus and
Mm-hmm.
probably to rent at other locations as well.
Yeah, it's also very cheap on eBay.
Oh, there you go.
I like to think that I do not ask for much. You don't have to sit with me, look at me, we don't have to touch. You don't have to go for a ride on the back of my bike. Please like what I like. Well, first, Princess and the Frog was my pick. Michael. I wanted to make my first one an animated movie. I had prepared a list of choices that did not include it. And I'm sure we'll get to a lot of those later as long as this continues going. But yeah, for whatever reason, the conversation led to this being picked. And I think it's a decent introductory choice, because I think we're going to get a lot more obscure pretty quickly. This should be a podcast to expand some listeners' horizons if you're not the kind of person that goes outside their comfort zone with movies. But yeah, The Princess and the Frog is something that I think a lot of people are pretty apt to have seen or likely to have seen already. So if you're considering listening to this, then this is something you might be able to just dive right into.
Yeah.
All right, so The Princess and the Frog. It's a 2009 Disney animated feature directed by Musker and Clements, the same duo that arguably kicked off the Disney Renaissance with The Great Mouse Detective and The Little Mermaid. They also did one of my least favorite Disney animated films, Treasure Planet. I didn't like that one.
Yeah. That had the worst comic relief character, I think, of all time.
Yeah, it also, I like pirates, I like outer space, I should like it, but it's just pirate ships with bubbles around them. I mean...
It had no heart!
Yeah.
They most recently did Moana, and
yeah.
I very much enjoyed Moana. I thought it was a very beautiful 3D animated movie with great music as well.
That one I have not seen yet.
The music in this movie is by Randy Newman,
yeah.
who also plays Cousin Randy.
Yeah, he's the...
Ready when you are, Cousin Ray is his only line in the movie. But I really liked the music.
Yeah.
I think it's a real high point, and I think Randy Newman, whenever he's doing music for movies, always knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, Randy Newman's great. Add more about Musker and Clements.
Go on, I'm sorry. I got excited.
It's good. If you're curious what Musker and Clements look like, that's them throwing out Mardi Gras beads from the mermaid-themed float in the parade scene in this movie. Princess and the Frog was expected to both reinvigorate Disney's traditional 2D hand-drawn animation studio and to expand the company's lucrative princess merchandising line. Fortunately for Disney, it succeeded in the latter somewhat, but unfortunately for us, it did not succeed in the former. Princess and the Frog didn't do super well. 2009 was a year that was replete with big movies. It even had more animated stuff than usual. It was the year of Coraline, 9,
actually have the
Secret of Kells
list of the best animated features of 2009. Yeah, So
Up,
Up,
yeah.
Fantastic Mr. Fox, Coraline, The Secret of the Kells, and The Princess and the Frog. And Up is the only modern computer animated of those five.
Yeah, good year.
And that was the one that ended up winning, which I think kind of helped put the death knell in
Yeah,
the
it was
2D
definitely a
animated
sign of the
format.
times, I suppose.
And I also feel that Disney kind of attributed The Princess and the Frogs. Well, it was a modest success at the box office. It wasn't a failure, but I think that it underperformed, and they thought it was the 2D animation. But I think that there were some other factors, like the fact that Avatar came out the following week, and it drove everyone, I think, to that theater. And also, it's been suspected that having princess in the title might have scared off parents with sons.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I didn't see it in 2009. I was 19, so I probably wouldn't have been the first one to go see a kids movie in the theater. So it took me probably a long time to go see it, longer than I would have maybe if it had a different title. I'm guessing.
I didn't see it in the theaters either. Actually, I saw it as soon as it came out for like rent at Blockbuster.
I think I saw it maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
On Disney Plus, whenever the first year Disney Plus was around, so I was real late to the party.
It's not just that the movie was overshadowed, but the movie was subjected to some uncomfortable scrutiny that it would not have had, I think, if it had not starred Disney's first black main character. And aside from that, there's certainly some decisions in the film that are not going to appeal to everyone. I'll admit that the movie had some shortcomings, and it's not my number one favorite Disney animated feature, but I really like it. The art, music, and humor are each a big part of that, and we'll get into each of those. I think we already pretty much mentioned the music, but I think have more to say about it.
A lot more to say on both the music and the comedy. So,
I think it's an interesting entry in the Disney animated pantheon, even aside from those things, in that it comes weirdly close to inviting a Marxist reading. Tiana's attempt to pull herself up by her bootstraps is met only with heartache, even though she's literally hardworking to a fault. Like, her work ethic is her fatal flaw in a Greek tragedy sense in this movie. She finds herself...
all you do is work.
Exactly. And yeah, like the only other friends of hers we see aside from Charlotte is the other girl. Aside from her are the people at the restaurant that ask her to hang out, and she's say that line. Yeah, the whole like angle with her and Naveen is that she's trying to teach him the value of hard work, and he's trying to teach her to loosen up, and they kind of have to meet in the middle. But yeah, she finds herself so alienated by her dogged fixation on, earning herself her restaurant that, like Kafka's Gregor Samsa before her, she finds herself metamorphosed into an inhuman form. I think the message is stronger at some points than others, but I don't think I'm stretching to say that it's there.
It was actually the fifth highest grossing animated film of 2009, which is not, again, it didn't do bad. I don't think it did bad enough to have closed the door on the Disney classic animation revival. I think it should have pushed on a little further. I think the next one they did was Winnie the Pooh, and that was probably more because they already had the background and drawn from
I forgot
about
that Winnie the Pooh movie. I thought this was the last 2D.
Most people did. Yeah, I think it was 2011. I have not seen it.
Yeah.
I just know it exists.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
Keith David's character, Dr. Facilier, aside from being one of my favorite Disney villains, did you know his original name was going to be Dr. Duvalier, named after Francois Duvalier, the despot of Haiti from 1957?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was like, he had a government death squad, and he would indiscriminately kill his political opponents. But he was also a cult of personality populist who openly kind of talked about his belief in the Haitian mythology and voodoo.
Yeah.
So they were going to originally name Dr. Facilier from a terrible dictator.
That's a deep cut, and but like that would have been a clever like historical reference.
Yeah. But I just wanted to also bring up that, yeah, Keith David just kills it as
Yeah,
Dr. Facilier. It's some great voice acting, and he really gives that character great gravitas.
yeah.
Terrific character.
Keith David's cool. I like him in John Carpenter
Yeah.
movies.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
But yeah. Facilier's definitely one of the standout characters from the movie. Like you know how Disney, like the way they do their animated features, they'll have like an animator assigned to each major character and to like oversee that character, and that gives each character like their own kind of
Mm-hmm.
flavor.
Their
Yeah,
physical
like
personality.
Facilier's animator is the guy that created the Proud Family. If you ever seen that show.
I'm familiar with.
Yeah, it's kind of like his like lanky frame and the way he moves kind of reminds me of the dad from that show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think he gets one of the best songs,
Oh yeah,
"Friends on the Other
I'm
Side,"
always
both in music and in the animated
mm,
sequence. I think it stands head and
yeah. I
shoulders
never
above the
noticed
movie.
until preparing for this talk that like his shadow in that song scene turns the wallpaper design into skulls and crossbones behind him. I never noticed that before.
Hmm.
But every time I like look that song up on YouTube, I'm disappointed by how short it is.
Yeah, it's very short, but it takes up such a huge part of my
Mm,
mind. In retrospect, it casts a long
mm.
shadow, much like the friends from the other side.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the standouts from this soundtrack. Almost there, it gets stuck in my head a lot.
I really like Almost There's
Yeah,
animation
yeah,
change, and I feel like that is something that Musker and Clements kind of have used in the
yeah.
past with,
Hercules,
I believe, to
definitely.
a lesser extent, Aladdin, but definitely
Yeah,
Hercules. They kind of throw in a completely different animation style for a
yeah,
segment and run with it, and I feel like it really kind of sets
huh,
that song apart
yeah.
in a good way.
In Hercules, like when they switched to that like no lines, no outline sort of look,
Yes.
reminds me a lot of another movie I suggested for this one, which was Son of the White Mare, which we might.
That's the one that I
Yeah.
voted on, even though it ended up just being you and I anyway.
Yeah, we'll probably do that at some point. It's an interesting movie. Anyway.
But while we're talking about the
Hmm.
songs and the musical moments, I thought Ma Belle Evangeline was absolutely beautiful. This time around, I really noticed how beautiful both the segment and the song were.
Yeah,
Really kind of like transported me away for a moment, even though I was watching it at
yeah, it's like
work. But
Randy
enough
Newman.
to write it down.
Randy Newman kind of has like once in a while he'll make these like really understated like torch songs like that. Like Caroline is the one that comes to mind
Hmm.
uh, right away. Um, but yeah, it's kind of a different mode than usually think of for him. He's usually got a lot of like fancy
He's
wordplay and like complicated chord progressions for like more complicated than like pop music anyway. And like
But I do feel like he's got a wide
yeah,
range, but there's always like
mm,
identifiers. I've always you can pick out a Randy
yeah.
Newman
Well, I think
melody
a big
sometimes, kind of like how you can pick out a lot of
mm,
composers if you pay
yeah.
attention to
Well, I think
composers.
a big part of that is the New Orleans influence on his music, which is why he's fits this movie.
He's
Yeah.
perfect for this. Yeah, I had forgotten it was Randy Newman
Mm,
until this rewatch. This is only my I think third
mm,
time watching it. Like I said, I got there late. Um, but yeah, the first two times I might might have taken note of his name
Mhm.
popping up, but this time I really got it in the music, where it's like I can pick out, the jauntiness of the
Yeah.
melody, the kind of like dun, 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 and you can kind of pick like little pieces of like, oh, that kind of sounds like it would be in place in Toy
Mm.
Story, and some of the more incidental music, not so much the song and dance numbers.
Speaking of song and dance numbers, I feel like that's something about this movie that if you look at like the wider sort of Disney, yeah,
Oeuvre.
yeah, like with shoot, what's that guy's name? It's the guy that did the Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast music. Uh, it's two guys, but I'm thinking of the one that
Yeah,
Beauty
I
and the
know
Beast
who you're
is like dedicated
talking
to.
about. I can try to bring it up real quick, but you keep talking and I'll look it up so I can
Oh, I
interject.
got it. I got it. Howard Ashman.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah.
Yes, okay, okay.
Howard Ashman's influence. There was like a really big musical theater sort of flavor that was brought in on the music in the early Disney Renaissance. You know, and
And Ellen
yeah, and
Menken.
Alan Menken, the Little Shop of Horrors duo.
Yeah,
And I feel like after Ashman passed away, Disney animated movies kind of shied away from that sort of musical theater flavor. Um, like not, it's still there in like Lion King, but then you get to like Tarzan and Treasure Planet, which we brought up before, and there's like a lot more like non-diegetic music, a lot less dancing
yeah,
around and singing.
Tarzan's all Phil
Yeah,
Collins, right?
and
And I like that about Tarzan. I'm being honest.
yeah,
It's one of my favorite parts about Tarzan.
but yeah, I feel like it's like they were kind of shy about that musical theater presentation, and Princess and the Frog seems to kind of bring it back, at least unless I'm just ignorant of a lot more films in between.
The films in between, I think they did go through kind of a less musical
Okay.
period. Uh, Even like Pixar took over a bit
Mm.
of popularity, and I think Disney decided to mimic their Pixar output more
Uh,
than do what they were known for, and that's where you get the films that kind of came in
and
between.
then like Princess and the Frog
But then
itself.
they got back out of it because then Frozen and Moana
True.
and they get back into the
Oh,
musicals, the
yeah.
Disney side of it.
Well, then, yeah, that kind of fits the what I'm saying. But yeah, Princess and the Frog kind of eases into it. Like it starts off with that. Well, aside from that, like really short bit that Tiana's voice actress is singing at the very beginning, which I
Mm-hmm.
guess it's
Way down in New Orleans.
uh. I think that's
Is
that's
that
the that's the second
is that
thing.
next?
Yeah,
Okay.
like that song is non-diegetic, right? It's like no one no one in the movie is on screen singing it.
Yeah.
So it's like the movie's kind of easing you into the musical theater thing by starting with what you're used to if you haven't seen the older Disney movies in a while, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then yeah, anything else on the music?
I have a little bit on Dig a Little Deeper,
Yeah.
but that goes more into like themes and stuff. So I'm gonna save that for that portion of the
Okay.
conversation. But Dig a Little Deeper was a great musical number
Uh
with a very cute animated sequence, and
oh.
I really enjoyed that whole bit of
Yeah. I
music.
like the animation a lot during that part. I think it's like lyrically I feel like it's really nail on the head. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
yeah. And I don't know if I like that aspect of it. I was it feels the closest to corny to me out of the soundtrack.
I get that,
Yeah.
but I feel like it serves its purpose
Mm.
in the musical theater
Yeah.
aspect of the movie, where like it is the song to which the main character experiences that climactic turn.
Yeah. it's very functional.
Was there any other aspect of the movie, like in the vague, big sense, that you felt kind of shined? We did like the animation and the music, and I thought the comedy was
Oh
good.
yeah,
Like it was a rare. It had some rare examples of characters telling other characters jokes to be funny as a character
yeah, that's
instead of
true.
just
Naveen
like
does that
comic
a
relief.
lot. Uh,
Um, Mama Odie said, "Too bad it's a special candy. It would have turned you back to human." And then, like, she's just playing a practical joke.
yeah, it's got a, it. I think it's got a cute sense of humor, and like there's a lot
The
of like little
John Goodman and Charlotte.
yeah.
No more Mr. Pushover. Now who wants a puppy?
Yeah,
Like
and
it had a lot of good humor to
he's
it.
like a walking Tennessee Williams pastiche. Like
Hmm.
the dog's name's Stella. Like yeah,
Stella,
exactly.
get them frogs.
And Charlotte calls him Big Daddy. I don't know if if does everybody call him Big Daddy or just her.
I think just her.
Yeah, it's like in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, the dad in that everybody calls him Big Daddy, and they kind of like he's kind of dressed the same way as that character, and like the way that the town kind of sucks up to him. It's like it's not a huge aspect. They could have kind of elaborate elaborated on that more, but like in the opening song. When they say the sugar barons and cotton kings, they're showing John Goodman's
Hmm.
character. It's kind of,
Hmm.
I think that's trying to imply that he's one of those two
Or both.
or both. And like that's why he's made the Mardi Gras king. He says 5 years in a row or something because
Hmm.
the town's sucking up to him, which is like a big aspect of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Gotcha. The three alligator hunters had a Three Stooges moment while they were trying to catch the frogs. They were
Uh-huh.
poking each other in the eyes and slapping each other's faces. Very Three Stooges. Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
notice when they were walking into Mama Odie's, who has no eyes or teeth, there are eyes and teeth in a jar that follow them as they walk?
Yeah.
I like that visual gag. That
Yeah,
was a good
that's
one.
cool. Yeah, her place is just cool to look at. Like all the little bottles around and stuff. All the stuff like tied to the ceiling.
Hmm.
Neat stagecraft, I guess. I don't know. A neat imaginary set. Sorry, I'm not staying on topic very well, but yeah, the movie just has a cute sense of humor, and like a lot of
Hmm.
just the way things move tends to make me laugh in this movie, especially
Yeah, it's
Charlotte.
very visually humorous. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, Charlotte seems like she's animated at a higher frame rate
yeah,
than everyone,
exactly.
like
It's like she comes
an
from a
old
different
timey cartoon.
cartoon. Yeah,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's like it's just the way things move in this movie tends to get chuckles out of me. Also, like Prince Naveen when he turns into a frog, like they try to kind of carry over his facial expressions as a frog for some reason. That
Hmm.
looks really funny to me. And that like people complain about the final. Well, I guess it's not final, but like the quip of it's not slime, it's mucus.
Hmm.
Yeah, people complain about that callback during the Facilier battle. I think it's cute though. It's a callback to an in joke between Naveen and
Tiana.
Tiana as like a couple. You know, like that.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to kind of drive home that they're becoming a couple, then it's a
Hmm.
cute way to do it. I think.
Yeah.
Also, she's not like a super jokey character, so it makes sense she'd have kind of a corny one-liner. You know,
Hmm.
wouldn't fit her
I
character to be like an Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of quip at that moment.
and I feel like something else that kind of reflects that is that she doesn't overpower and defeat Dr. Facilier. She only kind of outsmarts him, and Dr. Facilier is kind of like defeated by the bad bets that he placed. He's kind
Yeah.
of hoisted on his own petard instead of the hero finding some hidden strength and striking him down in a blow.
Yeah, that would
It's
have.
his own machinations have come back to kill him.
Yeah, it would have been out of character for them to suddenly turn into superheroes at the end or something. Do you have any complaints about the movie?
No, I
Really?
don't think I do. Let me see. I didn't write any down.
Mm.
I'm a very good audience. I just go looking for the things I
Mm.
enjoy. Yeah, I didn't write any complaints down.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm a good audience in the way that it's easy to manipulate me emotionally. Like,
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
I definitely tear up in the scene where like she's been told that she's been outbid and she goes like upstairs to cry.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
easy to make me cry, uh, especially for some reason in movies.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's like
I'm a sucker for. That's why I love movies so much
yeah.
because they are successful in, maneuvering my emotions like good art should.
Let's see. I have a couple complaints about the movie. Sure.
Okay.
Let's see. I think that the the quick cut to a happy ending at the end. Like I don't begrudge them a happy ending, but I think that her just suddenly, like the quick cut to her having the restaurant and stuff, like they do make a point of showing her paying with the saved up money still, so it's not like she's succeeding because of Naveen, but like I don't know. Then how is it resolved that she was outbid? Right? Do they explain that? Like it seems to undercut the whole earlier stuff with the with her not getting the restaurant despite her savings, And then like if her original nest egg did get the restaurant after all, then like what was the I'm sorry, what was the like point of teaching her that she works too hard, Like isn't she proven right that all you need to do is work hard if that does get her goal?
I feel like she still paid her share, but Naveen and his family, now that Naveen settled down, I
Mm,
assume that he is back in the family till and
yeah.
filled in the gaps of what she
Hmm.
needed. I think that's kind of inferred,
Okay.
but it shows that she wasn't in it for a handout, and
Yeah.
she still paid the part that she was able to.
Mm,
I feel like there is a version of the movie where they could have explained that or fleshed that out, but I think the movie would have been the worse for it. I
yeah.
think that one of the worst things movies can
Is
do is
over
have
explain things.
ending fatigue,
Ah, okay. Like Lord of the
where
Rings.
the climax happens and then the movie just keeps on trudging along. I feel like Quentin Tarantino does that a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's one of his like little. I like him as a director, but I feel like
Mm.
that's one of his little cinema crimes, especially in like Django Unchained. I feel
Ah.
like ends 20 minutes before it ends, and you're just kind of like, all right, another scene.
uh,
I feel like a climax should be like within within sight of the finish line. And I
okay.
think like that might be why I bet there's a script out there with probably 10 more pages in between
Yeah.
the climax and the end,
That
and I
could be
feel like they
so.
cut it to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the way to keep it snappy and make me happy would probably be to have them get together, but like commit to keep working towards the restaurant, which seems like less big, but like it doesn't undermine the whole plot. Um, I don't know, but maybe that's the reason I'm not writing fairy tales.
Well, I had kind of written a little dig a little deeper section where I kind of like
Oh yeah,
tried to get some people's what dig a little deeper moments.
okay, let's go for it.
So like I feel like Tiana and Naveen were both on opposite sides and met in the middle, where Tiana was over serious and Naveen was not serious
Hmm.
enough. And they were both chasing things they didn't need, and they dug a little deeper and found out that love is all they need. And I feel like Tiana, if Tiana were to just keep toiling away and working her workaday life, she would not be truly happy, and she might not ever get the restaurant as the gears of capitalism ground her down. And Naveen would have probably just kept going from fling to fling and never settling down and never getting back in his parents' good graces. And they dug a little deeper to find that they kind of met in the middle. And Tiana, when she stopped working so hard and started just living her life and trying to find love and making that decision, is when her life kind of came together.
Yeah.
Lou found that he didn't need to change who he was. He just needed to find where he belonged. That was the dig a little deeper he needed to do.
Mm.
Ray needed to stop living with his head in the stars, and he engaged in the real world and saved Tiana's life and was rewarded with his spot next to his Belle Evangeline.
Mm.
Those were my dig a little deeper moments.
Yeah.
I
Like
tried to take note as I was watching.
like I think part of that is like Mama Odie is kind of saying you need to dig a little deeper, as in like sort of think about things farther than surface level, like
Hmm.
and put it in terms of their goals, and that works. But like yeah, Tiana doesn't get it. She thinks it means work harder.
Yeah, I wrote Tiana dances unprompted for the first time,
Oh yeah.
signifying that she's getting it. But then immediately after, she 180s and says she needs to work even harder.
Mm, yeah, because deep down she gets it, but
Hmm.
her brain hasn't caught up with her subconscious. Now, like earlier in the movie, right, in the flashback scene,
Hmm.
when the dad is commenting on her wish, right?
Yeah, the never lose sight of what's really
Yeah,
important, he
he
says.
doesn't
Yeah.
actually vocalize what's important, and like based on the
Hmm.
previous scene, or like based on what he just said, it could be that you need to succeed by your own hard work, and that's how Tiana takes it. But like earlier in that night, the theme of the evening had been more like togetherness and like chosen family plus regular family, like
Hmm.
and basically love, like the
Yeah.
not just fairy tale love, but like all kinds of love.
Yeah. When you got love in your life, all the other stuff isn't as important anyway.
Exactly. So like I'm wondering if like that was supposed to be kind of the point there, like that was why they didn't have him clarify on what's important.
Well, I think
Because like
he assumed that she understood it, and then I feel when Dr.
yeah,
Facilier is trying to corrupt her, and he used um, Tiana's father as like the example of
uh-huh,
look at how tired he is and look at how hard he has to
yeah,
work, but all she sees is the man that loved his family unconditionally, and that he
mm-hmm,
would come home to a family he was happy to spend time with. And I thought that
yeah,
Dr. Facilier kind of overplaying his hand in that moment was actually a really good scene, and it kind of tied together that
yeah,
theme of the movie really well.
yeah, and then like puts a little bow on
Hmm.
it.
Absolutely. I have,
Yeah,
I have one last little thing written.
surprisingly subtle for a children's movie.
The
Yeah, go on.
Facilier's other friends, when the shadows are walking through the swamp, I love that scene.
Uh-huh.
It's not like a musical moment, and it's like a
Mhm.
little. like, it'll carry you from one moment to the next kind of scene, but I thought it was just like really cool looking. And I thought it like stuck in my
Mm.
mind really well.
Yeah, they did a good job with the like atmosphere of the voodoo. It really like gives a good weight to it because I feel like I don't know, sorry, like a cloudy, corrupting influence that's sort of could seep in at any moment, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like how weird and vague it is. What's your opinion on Ray, the least loved character of the
I liked
movie?
Ray. Did you like Ray?
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah.
He's like he's not my favorite, but like I think I like his character design. I like how like it's not very Disney-ish.
Hmm.
It kind of looks like a rough sketch that's been fleshed out. His like exaggerated New Orleans accent is fun.
Hmm.
Actually, I don't know enough about New Orleans to know if that's exaggerated. uh, I assume it is because it seems very cartoony to me. But like, I'm sorry if I'm insulting our vast Cajun listenership. But I think his death scene feels a little overly maudlin, although it is a death scene in a kids movie, so
Yeah,
I
I think
suppose it makes sense to make it
because he,
weighty.
yeah, he's like the most important character that dies in the movie.
Yeah, it just
And he had a
feels
hero's
weird.
moment right before it.
Yeah, I don't think it's unearned,
Hmm.
but I do think like tonally, it it's hard to give it the full weight that it's going for, and it like sort of skirts it knocks on the door of cheesiness again.
I get that. Hmm.
And I think that scene turns a lot of people off. I haven't heard that specifically, but I know people. He's not like quite a Jar Jar Binks figure, but he's definitely the least widely appreciated part of the movie is Ray himself.
I can see that.
I do like the whole Evangeline thing, though. I'll stick up for that. I think that's a
Yeah,
cool
and
character trait.
definitely.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts? I feel like we've covered the things I wanted to
Yeah,
cover.
pretty much. I'd say, probably in the top 10
Yeah.
Disney movies for me.
Yeah.
Probably
Definitely.
my
I'd
like maybe second favorite of the 2000s.
yeah. I'd go top five for me. Uh, like I don't know offhand. I'd say my top three I know would be Lion King, Fantasia, and Three Caballeros.
I like Fantasia and Wally the best.
I was considering Pixar separate.
Hmm.
Uh,
Gotcha.
but yeah, I do. Wally is great. Okay, so should we talk about what we're doing
Let
next?
me just make sure I've got nothing. Oh, it had two nominations for Best Song as well. Almost There and Down in New Orleans.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it was their first return to classic animation since 2004's Home on the Range, which I did not see.
Yeah, I didn't see
Yeah.
that one either. That's the cows one. That's all I know about it. I'm curious about that movie. I think I might seek it out now
Uh-huh.
that you bring it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got.
Yeah. Are you glad you rewatched it?
I am. Yeah, no, I had a good time watching it. I will probably watch it again at some point in my life. I like Disney
Hmm.
animated movies, and sometimes it's just like a warm blanket.
Yeah. It's comfort watching.
Had you rewatched it recently, and that's why you put it on the list, or was this the first time in a long time?
I hadn't seen it in at least 10 years, I'd say.
And are you after rewatching it, were you like, yeah, this was a great pick, and were you excited to have rewatched it? Did your rewatch live up?
Yeah.
Good, good, yeah.
I had brought it up because I wanted to do some thinking about it economically, because I knew it had that sort of edge to it, and I wanted to sort of see, because like at the time I watched it, I didn't like know as much, so I
For
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say like they made a big deal about being the first black main character
Uh-huh.
for a Disney movie. Uh, it's a surprisingly white production staff. Um,
Yeah, there's
there is one writer third build on the screenplay
yeah, he's kind
that
of
is
more of
black,
like an
and
advisory role, I think.
yeah, and
But
everybody, the writers, the directors, the
there's
Randy
at
Newman.
least two black animators I know on it, but
Hmm.
and like then there's the voice cast. But yeah, that's one of the things that I think they got some flack on, and they could have done a better job including more people of color on the creative team if that was going to be a driving force in the production as it was.
Yeah. It's even based on a book written by a middle-aged white woman.
Oh yeah,
Not the original classic tale, the Hans Christian
uh,
tale, but it's based on a more modern book, I
I
think from
didn't
like
know that.
2004.
Yeah, I thought it was just the Disney staff writers or whoever's credited for that. I thought they just like reimagined the Frog Prince story. But yeah, I hadn't heard of the book. News to me. Have you heard that there's going to be a Tiana TV show?
I've heard of that, but I didn't investigate any further.
Yeah, I think it's live action, so I'm probably not going to see it.
Yeah, I'll
Also,
probably
I
see.
don't want to pay for Disney Plus still. So yeah, but if anyone is listening, let us know how it is. I guess let's talk about what we're doing in the near future. If you want to keep up with this as like a book club, the next movie that you're gonna want to seek out, Joe's pick. Joe, do you want to introduce it?
My pick is Claire's Knee. It is the fifth of six moral tales, directed by Eric Romer in 1970, and it's currently on the Criterion channel. And you can probably rent it at a number of digital places, but it's not currently streaming anywhere else.
So yeah, seek that out, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Actually, we won't see you at all. I don't. You'll hear us next time.
Yeah, I haven't even seen you in like a year.
I like to think that I do not ask for much. You don't have to sit with me, look at me, we don't have to touch.